my God, look, that's a tornado.
At this point, the most active tornado day for Christmas Day that we know of.
There it is.
The real issue today was the freezing rain. We had a lot of accidents around town, at least a half a dozen with injuries.
Just a huge sprawling storm.
I hope everyone heeds the warnings and stays safe.
Really, we have several days more to go with the winter impacts from Winter Storm Euclid.
Jesus, please keep your hands on whoever's over there.
Wow, some of the scenes from just an incredible Christmas day of weather. Half past the hour. Thanks for staying with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Alex Wallace.
Yeah, unfortunately, lots of prayers like that for a Christmas day. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Elliott. You know, we've been watching this severe storm trekking its way across the nation. This is Winter Storm Euclid, but it's not your typical December winter storm. We've got a severe side of this. It has, in some ways, stolen the spotlight through the day. In fact, right now, as we go through the overnight hours here for the East Coast, we still have a tornado watch in play. This watch lasts until 5 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 a.m. Central, so continuing on through the night. Places like Montgomery and Pensacola, you are now out of the woods, but that heavy rain threat, the lightning threat, the flood threat, and the occasional severe weather threat continues to march further towards the east. And for all the latest on that severe weather threat and what's already happened today, let's go over to Alex.
All right, thanks so much, Mark. And yeah, we are following it here this late overnight period as we've got the downpours here across a good chunk of northern Georgia, starting to spread into South Carolina, and then the heavier downpours farther on off towards the south. In fact, this is the area that we've been really watching here over the last couple of hours for some of the stronger storms. This line of storms that has been moving on through southern Alabama heading east. Those have been the ones that have generally been finding some of the severe thunderstorm warnings. But we don't have any warnings right now. In fact, over the last maybe about a half an hour or so, we haven't seen any new additional warnings. Great news, but still we want to be vigilant and watch these storms very, very carefully. Now right on top of us here in the Dothan area, about to cross the state line and head on into Georgia. Albany, heads up, you'll be dealing with that before long. Could still be dealing with some gusty winds, at least right now, not reaching severe limits, which is, again, is good news, but we'll watch it very, very closely. You can see what these storms have done over the past 12 hours. Quite a bit of a storm activity here. These are all storm reports stretching from even East Texas through Louisiana. There we go into Mississippi, Alabama there, dealing with either wind damage, hail issues, or reports of tornadoes. And here's a closer view of some of the more recent reports coming in out of Alabama, not too far from the Montgomery area, right around the Lounsboro area. A farm damaged here around the Frederick Douglass Road region here due to a possible tornado there. And then just south of there in Greenville, a modular home porch was blown off, as well as the roof getting peeled off. So you can see what these storms have done. They have meant business. So that's why we're being, again, very, very cautious. Even though we haven't seen any warnings in the last several minutes, we still want to watch these storms carefully. Farther north, it's a steady rain that we're dealing with here. Now seeing some of the heaviest downpours, those oranges starting to move now east of Atlanta. So before long, we'll start to see here, even western Georgia, start to get a break from some of the heavier rains. But again, that's all going to be pressing its way across western sections of South Carolina. And you can see just a ton of moisture that we're finding farther north, up across Tennessee, working across Kentucky, as well as into West Virginia at this point. Downpours to contend with. So overnight hours, what we'll focus in on, these areas in the red, we may actually be able to shave off Montgomery towards the south and the west. Those areas are in the clear, but still across parts of South Georgia into western South Carolina, the threat for those stronger storms that could produce tornadoes and damaging winds and hail, that's going to be out there for us. The tornado risk for us, well, here we go. Torcon values here. Of course, this is developed by our very own severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes, giving it a 7 out of 10. So that's a 70% chance of dealing with a tornado here in southern Alabama, as well as the Florida panhandle there. And then heading east into southwest Georgia, about a 5 out of 10. So a 50% chance there. And then we start to lessen the numbers a bit in north central Georgia, a 3 out of 10. Lesser danger, but again, it's not zero. So we still want to heed any warnings if they are posted. Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. The severe storms and tornadoes are dangerous no matter what time of day they occur. But at night, the degree of danger is especially high, mostly because people are less likely to be aware of what's happening with the weather. The Weather Channel's Julie Martin shows us what you should do if you live in an area where a tornado is likely to hit overnight.
When a tornado hits in the middle of the night, there's little time to think, let alone feel anything. Cincinnati, Arkansas is a perfect example. A tornado struck in the early morning hours on New Year's Day.
This is where your daughter sleeps.
Yeah.
The Hignite family survived this killer tornado in the hallway. Fortunately, it woke them in time. But relying on a tornado or even a siren to jar you from sleep is not a safe bet. There is no national requirement for tornado siren systems. Many areas don't have them. Tools like NOAA weather radios and the Weather Channel's Notify system can keep you alive.
Actually, the Weather Channel called my cell phone, so honestly, it probably saved my life.
So go over your family's weather plan now. Look for shelter in a small, windowless, first-floor interior room like a closet or bathroom. I'm Julie Martin, the Weather Channel.
And taking a snapshot from above right now. This is what we call a satellite image. We can basically see the clouds. We've colored them up for you. This is our winter storm Euclid over here, the severe weather and those bright colors down to the extreme lower portion of your screen. But out west, we've got another storm coming on in. In fact, we've got this kind of pinwheel bowling ball coming on into the coast, moisture stretching all the way back towards the Hawaiian Islands. And so this is our next in the series of storms that's been affecting the west. Great season for the ski resorts, that's for sure. Getting in a little bit closer to San Francisco, your heavy rain is done. Even the Sacramento Valley has cleared out dramatically over the past couple of hours. There's still a good deal of snow here over the Sierras. And meanwhile, further north, it's not as widespread, but we do have some light rain showers in Portland, so some slow travel for the I-5 corridor. Alex.
All right, well, there's much more to come here. As far as Winter Storm Euclid is concerned, we have more on the snow and ice from the system. We'll get a report from Mike Seidel as well in Oklahoma City. Well, you are watching Weather Center Live, and we have more of our special coverage of Winter Storm Euclid.
Let's get an update now from meteorologist Mike Seidel on the snow in Oklahoma City tonight.
It is a blustery and frigid Christmas night here in Oklahoma City. Winds have gusted to nearly 40 miles an hour. Wind chills are in the single numbers. This massive storm has dumped snow as far south as North Texas and has produced rare Christmas tornadoes. Look at this rain and wind. This is storm chaser video near McNeil, Mississippi, where a tornado reportedly touched down this afternoon. There are reports of injuries and damage. And there is a rare Christmas snowfall hitting Dallas. It's bad news on the roads, signs warning of icy conditions. At least 3 reported tornadoes touched down across Texas today, causing lots of damage and leaving thousands without power. Thunderstorm winds toppled this tree onto a pickup truck in the Houston area, killing the driver. No fatalities, but plenty of cleanup this morning in Oklahoma City following this massive pileup. 21 cars and tractor trailers crashed, slipping on roads coated with freezing rain. Not just wind and ice, but snow is pounding parts of the west. In Northern California, near Lake Tahoe, an avalanche buried and killed a snowboarder. In Reno, slush is making a mess of streets. And poor visibility is a problem on the roads across the Rockies. Near Salt Lake City,
What happened?
I'm slid off.
the Department of Transportation is putting up flashing signs to help warn travelers. When temperatures dropped and snow started falling, the cars started sliding, and this semi crashed off I-80. Outside of Denver, snowplows are trying to clear things up. Here you can see the snow getting worse, blowing across the road from the hillside below. Lousy for drivers, but good times for sleigh riders and snowboarders. And take a look at these photos from northern Arizona. Low visibility on the roads near Flagstaff. Blizzard and winter storm warnings are flying tonight from Arkansas to Maine. Some of those don't end until early Friday morning. This is going to be a long duration event. Now for the big cities, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, it's going to be rain and wind. And that wind tomorrow evening and to Thursday could gust as high as 60 miles an hour. That could knock out power. And if you're flying tomorrow in and out of the northeast hubs, boy, pack a lunch. There could be long flight delays. Back to you.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. It doesn't much matter if it's not snow across the Northeast. The wind and the rain will be problems enough. We start things off in Indianapolis, where your flight delays will be major. That windswept snow could, in fact, close down the airport at times. We'll have to monitor that carefully. Same story for you in Cleveland. Meanwhile, New York, at least significant delays. Maybe not as bad as it could be because it's mostly a rain event. That being said, a windswept rain in New York is certainly enough to cause big problems. We look at Charlotte, where you could see some morning thunderstorms, so some delays there. And because of the wind in Atlanta, you could see some big problems. Let's get into the details here, why we're seeing these big delays, and it's all because of Winter Storm Euclid. From Indianapolis to Detroit, the Cincinnati area, area, heavy snow, a windswept snow at that. It is going to be tough go of things at the airport, but the roads are going to be tough too. We're looking at St. Louis in the morning hours. We're looking at least some flurries, so the I-70 corridor could be a little bit slow for you. Much worse, though, as you move to the east. Indianapolis with heavy snow through the day. The worst of the travel will be through the bulk of the travel time in the afternoon. For those of you trying to get back home after Christmas, this could be big trouble. Columbus, same story for you. We're looking at heavy snow basically right on through the day from 6 a.m. all the way into the evening hours. That snow is still going to be flying. For the Northeast Corridor on Wednesday, well, we're looking okay for New York, especially early on. That rain a little bit further south of Philadelphia, D.C., and especially Pittsburgh once you get into that sleet, freezing rain, and snow mix on Wednesday. By Thursday, the worst of the air travel delays are going to be further north in New England, but there's still going to be some big snows for the interior section. So if you're traveling along I-80, it means that through the day, you're going to have some significant delays on I-80 in Cleveland. Heavy snow, low visibility at best for some of your traveling. You definitely want to delay that travel if you can. State College afternoon, we're looking at snow for you further south. You go through the mix zone into the rain, so no matter where you're heading from State College, it's going to be a problem. And again, New York City, mostly a rain event, but it will be a windswept rain through the day, and so high-profile vehicles need to watch out for that one. In the southeast on Wednesday, a lot of the worst of the weather will be done early. However, if you're along the coastline for Charlotte, maybe through Florida, airport delays are possible there on Wednesday. And we can't forget about those of you out west on Wednesday where our next storm system is moving on through. It means interior snows for places like Salt Lake City, maybe some rains lingering for San Francisco or even LA, but it shouldn't be enough to slow down the airport. You should be all right for your travels there. Alex.
All right, well, it's new information on Winter Storm Euclid coming in all the time. And we're keeping you up to date on the impacts and the forecast. Storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel will have the latest track on what's happening now and what's to come. He's straight ahead in your winter weather update.
60 past the hour, time for your winter weather update. I'm storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel with the latest on Winter Storm Euclid, which continues to pound parts of the country with a variety of weather, from severe weather in the southeast to significant winter snow on the northwest side. Let's look at the radar and show you where the snow is falling right now. The heaviest snow is beginning to develop in this area right in here, right in the northwestern part of Tennessee and western parts of Kentucky and southern Illinois and Indiana. That area shaded in blue right in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see some lightning strikes develop across this region over the next hour or two. This is where the center of the upper level low is, and the most significant rising motion is occurring right in this region right in here. So snowfall rates are going to increase very quickly. Paducah, last hour I saw you changed over to rain. You will likely go back to snow, especially as some of the heavier precipitation comes down, but then it'll become all snow later on tonight. Overall, poor visibility in this region right where it's snowing very hard. In addition to that, we've got some significantly strong winds here, gusting to 47 miles an hour. Poplar Bluff sustained at 33 out of the north. So when you combine the poor visibility, strong winds, and the heavy snow, obviously you get blizzard conditions, and that's what's ongoing right now, and that will likely continue to spread northeastward overnight in a relatively narrow corridor from about northeastern Arkansas on northeastern from there. Let's show you where those blizzard warnings are in effect. Jonesboro, Arkansas, Paducah, you're in a blizzard warning. Evansville, Indianapolis, and just northwest of you in Columbus. So this is the area that will be hardest hit, likely by Euclid, with the heaviest snow just on the northwestern side of this band of blizzard warnings, likely just to the northwest of you in Paducah. There we go. This is the upper level circulation associated with Euclid. We've got some tops to 50,000 feet with the thunderstorms in the southeast and the significant thunderstorm activity there. But back in here, underneath the cold air with temperatures in the 20s and 30s, we've got some thunder snow with tops there 20 to 30,000 feet. Very strong jet stream dynamics are in play right now, with a dip in the jet stream right in here and another one splitting off in the subtropical jet to the south. That is providing some significant uplift in this region right in between those two streams of the jet flow there. And we also have some strong dynamics back in here near the coldest part aloft, and along with that we have some relatively humid air coming wrapped back around to the west in this cold air right in here. That is what is producing the blizzard conditions. So we have a couple of things in play there. The strong winds aloft. We also have very cold air aloft and also some humid air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. all combining to produce these blizzard conditions right in here. Those will expand northeastward overnight tonight. Let's move our future radar forward here in time. Watch this development right in here. This is a new low that will likely begin to take over and become the dominant low later on tomorrow. What that's going to do, aside from bringing very heavy snow over parts of western Pennsylvania and Ohio, it is going to strengthen the winds across the eastern part of the United States, bring very gusty winds up to 50 miles an hour, probably tomorrow night in New York City. And that will likely bring a marine layer of mild air, all rain, mostly rain for you anyway, for New York and Philly, maybe a little snow on the backside, and Boston too, mostly rain event for you. But very significant snows are likely across northern New England as this low tracks right along the coast. That's not a producer of snow for the I-95 corridor, but it is a very favorable track for heavy snow in the mountains of New England where there are winter storm warnings out. And let me show you the snowfall totals that we expect from now through Thursday. Look at our 6 to 12 and our 12-inch plus. The ski resorts are going to make out like a banshee out here in northern New England, over a foot of snow very likely, with blizzard conditions there possible in the higher elevations. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Dr. Greg Postel. And there's a severe side of things as well, and you can see the line of storms stretching across southwestern Georgia into Alabama, Panhandle of Florida. Those are areas that are under a tornado watch. 4 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Eastern.
And our special coverage of Euclid will continue all night long and into tomorrow here on the Weather Channel.
And don't forget, we're online on weather.com as well as on your phone too. Now on Weather Center Live, a deadly severe weather outbreak in the south for Christmas Day, and the threat continues through the overnight hours.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the storm, millions of others will get hit with heavy snow, ice, and gusty winds. Will Winter Storm Euclid force you to change your post-Christmas travel plans?
We have expert analysis on the widespread winter storm from the lower Mississippi Valley to the northeast. From the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Weather Center Live.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and check this out. This video comes to us from Mobile, Alabama, where we saw a tornado touchdown. You know, amazingly, while looking at this video, no reports of anyone killed by this storm, which is great news. There were some injuries, most of them minor. There was some damage, though. Mobile's Fire and Rescue says homes and businesses have been damaged. Trees down, power lines down. You can even see some power flashes there in the distance. Welcome to this extended edition of Weather Center Live. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Alex Wiles. You know, we've already had almost 20 reports of tornadoes today.
And the severe weather threat continues overnight. Here's the wide view of the storm. You can see the wintry side of things all the way back to the west, Little Rock up through St. Louis, but steady rain kicks in around Nashville and the severe threat down towards the Gulf Coast. We still have this tornado watch in play. For the those of you in the Eastern time zone, goes until 5 a.m., goes until 4 a.m. if you're in the Central time zone. Now, we've been watching this box get kind of chopped away as our storm has moved further east, but there's still that threat. You definitely need to pay attention tonight. And for all of you in the area, let's get the details on the severe weather with Alex.
Now, we're following it very, very closely. The good news is within the last hour or so, we haven't seen much in the way of severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. That is a good sign, but we still have the storms out there, and we can certainly see that changing as we progress through the night as this line of storms moves on off towards the east. This has generally been the area here, this line of storms, where we've seen most of the warnings as we worked our way through this evening. But good news, you can see here into Alabama, pretty much starting to see that line clearing you. Still, though, about to move on into the southwestern portions of Georgia, so that'll be an area that we focus in on. But no warnings at the current time. Albany, though, you'll be dealing with some heavier downpours as this line slides on through. The winds will start to pick up as well, gusty at times as that line moves on through, but at least at this point, staying below severe limits. Macon, heavy rains for you, sliding your way on up towards the north a bit. We've got some rain in those areas as well. We'll track that in just a second. But look at some of the storm reports we've seen here moving across Alabama and the Panhandle of Florida over the last 6 hours. Some of the more recent reports coming in here right around the Atmore area, where an 18-wheeler was overturned thanks to some of those big-time winds. And then sliding our way into the panhandle of Florida, a tree down here at the intersection on one of the highways. So again, these storms have meant business as they've moved on through, but now things starting to, at least at the present moment, calm down just a bit. Heavy downpours in place around in the Athens area. Atlanta looks like coming on into the southwest side of town. Some heavier rains, but you can see there is a back edge to this mess. Now you can see things have pretty much cleared out across eastern sections of Alabama, and before long, that'll swing on through the Atlanta area as everything progresses on off towards the north and the east. But for now, Athens, you're in the thick of things and getting into the Greenville area there in South Carolina, and then more rain as you head northward up across Kentucky. Now, as we move through the overnight hours, we'll continue to watch that severe threat move to the north and the east. We'll get rid of this area here that's across southern Alabama and the western sections of Florida. Those areas are starting to get into the clear as those storms move east, but the threat for tornadoes will exist. Damaging winds and hail, something we'll watch for. Tomorrow now, things progress on off towards the east. Parts of southern Virginia, most of the Carolinas, and back down to north and central Florida, damaging winds and hail, and a few isolated tornadoes as well. Mark?
Winter Storm Euclid and the severe side of the storm got organized in East Texas. And unfortunately, one person lost their lives. One person killed in Texas when strong winds brought down several trees. Now, just north of that deadly accident, witnesses reported a tornado touching down in the city of Crockett. KPRC's Philip Mena arrived just as the winds died down.
I'm here in Houston County, about 100 miles north of the city of Houston, where the winds have died down dramatically here. But earlier this morning, there were several witness reports of a tornado about 2 football fields. That was the size, according to witnesses. Now, all this mangled debris you see here, it used to be a feeder store. And the only reason you can even tell that it was a feeder store is in the distance. There are a few bags of feed just clinging to the ground there. Now, miraculously, there was no major reports of injuries. However, we did talk to a woman who said that she and her husband were driving down the road here trying to take cover from a hailstorm. They decided to seek shelter here at this feeders building, which obviously no longer stands. Now, the truck was completely destroyed, but miraculously they came away with just some cuts and bruises. And right now the cleanup effort is underway, and there are some downed power lines, and crews are working here to try to get that up and running. But again, people here are just thankful that there were no serious injuries. Now, we're reporting in Pennington. Philip Mena, Local 6 News.
Thanks, Philip. You know, it's not only that storm system we're watching. Although Winter Storm Euclid is still kind of on our map here, you can see the snow side of things moving towards St. Louis and the severe threat all the way down to the bottom corner of your screen. That's not the only storm we're watching. Here across the west, we've got another one of those big wrapped up areas of low pressure. You can see it spinning right off the Oregon-California border. Look at that. Look how wrapped up it is. You can really see that pattern in the atmosphere. Amazing how that works out. But I also want to point out the moisture train that's attached to this system comes from now the desert southwest all the way back towards the Hawaiian Islands, and our next storm system is behind that one, and it's all bringing lower elevation rains and mountain snows. Alex.
All right, well, when Weather Center Live returns, we'll go in depth on the snowy side of the storm with storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel. Winter Storm Euclid brought a hint of a white Christmas and hazardous driving conditions to the North Texas area this afternoon. The system was producing icy road conditions in the Texas Panhandle early Christmas morning and dropped anywhere from a dusting to several inches of snow. Blustery winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts even higher contributed to the poor road conditions. Well, storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel is in the Global Forecast Center.
That's right, and the snow might have started in Texas, but now Winter Storm Euclid is moving on. Doc, where is it now?
Yeah, well, right now we just saw some lightning strikes in southeastern Missouri, right underneath that heavy snow band that's beginning to develop across that region. Looks like in Arkansas things are winding down. Little Rock, you finished with about 9 inches. You may get another inch at most, but really it's beginning to lift off to your northeast. And Paducah, you are under the gun. You're sort of flopping back and forth between rain and snow, but there are some lightning strikes showing up just to your northwest as a very heavy band of snow and probably some sleet pellets in there mixed in moves through the region, and farther to the southeast, it's rain. Nashville, you got some rain with some lightning strikes moving through. This is a very powerful storm system that is producing snow with very low visibilities across this region, parts of southeastern Missouri and southern Illinois. Everywhere shaded in orange here has got a visibility less than a quarter of a mile. So when you add that in, with the winds gusting almost 50 miles an hour in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, with a sustained wind at 34, that is set up for a blizzard, and that's why we have blizzard warnings all across the region from Jonesboro, Arkansas to Paducah to Evansville, Indianapolis, and just northwest of you in Columbus, Ohio. There's what Euclid looks like on the satellite picture. We got tops to 50,000 feet with the thunderstorms moving through Georgia right now. But not only that, we've got tops to 25 to 30,000 feet, well back into the cold air with those thunder snow reports that we have over southeastern Missouri. That's tied to the upper level low. Again, we have powerful jet stream dynamics associated with this, with a split flow like that. Subtropical jet involved, and that is allowing for a lot of uplift in this region right in here. That's the thunderstorm activity, but back toward the upper low, where there is very cold air aloft, we have some of those thunderstorm reports with the heavy snow coming down, and they are being fed by a very moist air mass coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, getting pulled back into the cold air. And that's why we have a lot of snow and heavy snowfall rates in that region, and that will continue overnight tonight and begin to progress toward the northeast over the next several hours. So southern Illinois, southern Indiana, you're in line to get this very heavy snow with perhaps some lightning thrown in there in the mix. Moving through tomorrow afternoon, this primary low that's over right now, Tennessee, will move northeastern to Kentucky. This one will weaken. That will keep, though, heavy snow likely across parts of Indiana and Ohio. But we'll see new surface low development over North Carolina and Virginia. This will become the primary, the dominant low tomorrow. That will intensify the winds off the ocean into southern New England and the middle Atlantic states, bringing lots of rain, not snow, but rain to the I-95 corridor. And farther to the north, inland, while the rain will be confined to the coast, farther inland there will be heavy snow across parts of western New York State and northern New England. Feet of snow is possible, certainly over a foot of snow in the higher elevations in the Green and White Mountains and the Adirondacks, as well as the mountains of western Maine, where we do have winter storm warnings out for you. And likely that will be the case as we move through Thursday morning. The snow forecast from now through Thursday morning, the areas shaded in pink here are the 6 to 12 inch numbers. Just south of you, Indianapolis, that moves northeastward to Cleveland. You're in the 6 to 12. 12 inches plus here, a little bit lake enhanced. Syracuse, you got 12 inches plus. But you know what? I think western Maine will likely, and northern New York State and Vermont and New Hampshire will get over a foot of snow. Certainly the ski resorts will be happy with that, as they get a big-time winter event for them. So with that, I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Greg Postel, tracking it all for us tonight. There's much more to talk about with Winter Storm Euclid.
Just an amazing storm, not just the winter side of things, but also the severe side. So we're going to break it all down for you, going city by city to check out the impacts of this powerful storm system. They're going to be widespread. Basically, everyone in the eastern two-thirds of the nation has a chance to be impacted by the storm, and especially if you're doing any traveling. And one of those cities that's being impacted right now is St. Louis. Taking a live look, you can see the Christmas tree in the foreground, the state capitol building, I believe, in the background there. Overcast skies and a couple of flurries. We've been seeing the atmosphere moistening up as that moisture moved on through, and so with that, we are seeing a couple of reports of flurries nearby. Looking at the current radar, St. Louis right there in the middle of your screen. We've got some light snow. The further south and east you go, the heavier that snow gets. Back after this. Welcome back to Weather Center Live as we continue to track Winter Storm Euclid. Not only the snow to the north and west of the storm, but another angle here, we still have the severe threat down towards the Gulf Coast. That area shaded in red is a tornado watch. Anywhere in this region, we could still have that threat of tornadoes. And although we don't have any active warnings right now, we've got plenty of lightning and plenty of heavy rain and still some dangerous and destructive weather. But of course, we've got the snow side of things, and this snow has really been picking up in a couple locations over the past couple of hours. You can see that line from Poplar Bluff off to the north and east with those symbols. Those red symbols are lightning strikes. That's right, we have thunder snow indicating some very heavy snowfall rates kicking in across that area. So for the latest in the city-by-city breakdown on the snow, let's go over to Alex.
Yeah, let's do it. And one of the ways we convey what some of these cities are going to be dealing with is something that we've newly issued and newly instated here for this winter season, known as StormCon. And it's basically a weather impact index for some of the major cities, all based on science to combine several factors, from snow to ice to wind. Maybe we'll be dealing with all three of those things. The time of the day and week also plays a factor, and the scale goes from 1 up to 10, 10 being the highest. And that's when you're talking an extreme storm with debilitating impacts. 8 to 9 numbers, that's a major storm with multi-day impacts. And then you get to 6 and 7. Those values indicate a significant event with the impacts hanging around for about a day or so. And that's generally what we're going to be talking about with some of these cities here across sections of the Mid-South and into the Midwest, including Little Rock, although we'll start to see things winding down. Still a 7 out of 10 for us. In Indianapolis, you're at a 7 out of 10 with the snow and wind issues there. So pretty high on our StormCon scale here for you. So for our today, Little Rock, and this is our Wednesday, we've got partly cloudy skies because the snow is going to be pretty much out of the picture by this point. Highs will be in the mid-30s. Those winds will be right around 10 to 20 miles per hour. So even the winds will start to calm down a bit as we move into the overnight hours. Lighter winds and those lows dropping down into the 20s, so it will be quite chilly. And then by tomorrow, this is Thursday, partly cloudy skies with those highs starting to warm up into the 40s. For us in Indianapolis, we'll see that snow starting to move in through tonight. And then as we move our way through the rest of our Wednesday, heavy snow and wind. That's going to be the story for our day. 5 to 8 inches of that snow with those winds really kicking up, making it pretty tough to try to navigate. Mark?
Well, Alex, it's not staying out there in the Midwest. We've got the Ohio Valley and the Northeast impacted too. You're taking a live look at Cleveland, Ohio, which is on the northern fringe of the moisture plume right now. The clouds have moved in. You've got overcast skies. Temperatures are falling below freezing through the night, and our snow will be moving in as we go through the rest of our Wednesday. So as we were just going through, we've got the StormCon values here across the Midwest as well. The Ohio Valley, you are in for it. The Northeast corridor too. Check out some of these values. We're looking at 8s on the scale for places like Cleveland, Buffalo, and Syracuse. You all get 8s on the StormCon. That means we're going to see fairly significant impacts for you. And Cleveland, you are no exception. With an 8 on the scale, here's what you can expect. Through the rest of our Wednesday, we're looking at snow. We're looking at gusty winds to kick in just during the day. On Wednesday, we're looking at 6 to 10 inches of snow, and that snow, well, it's going to be blowing around 35-mile-per-hour winds, not out of the question as we go through the day. Now, Wednesday night, that snow continues, and another 3 to 5 inches of snow will pile up. And again, the key here, that wind is really going to be howling as we make our way from Wednesday into Wednesday night. And then Thursday, this says tomorrow, it's for Thursday, we're looking at winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour still, lingering snow showers, and any snow that's on the ground is going to be blowing and drifting around. Further north and east, we've got Buffalo as well. You've got an 8 on the StormCon. As we go through the day Wednesday, the light snow moves in. It really won't slow down travel too much unless you're in one of those high-profile vehicles, because we do have the winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour. It's Wednesday night that the heavy snow moves in. That's where you could see your 6 to 10 inches of snow, and again, blowing and drifting of that snow possible. And Thursday, we taper off to snow showers coming off the lake, but those winds will still be screaming. Alex, over to you.
All right, well, straight ahead here on Weather Center Live, we're going to focus on the severe weather from this storm. We'll get an update on tonight's tornado threat and show you how to stay safe.